Hey everybody, happy Sunday and welcome back to another video. Each Sunday what I do is I talk about setups, trades that I'm in, and things that I'm looking to potentially trade going into the week ahead. And again, I do this every Sunday. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button, the thumbs up button, and let's dive right into it. What I usually like to do with these videos is I like to start out with a trade that I am in myself. I say this often, but many creators, they will never actually show you their accounts. They'll never show you that they're taking real trades. And I just want you guys to rest assured when you watch my videos, I really do trade. I really place money in the markets. And, I'm not the best trader in the whole world, but I want you to know I'm actually, money where the mouth is kind of thing. Anyways, taking a look here, this is the US30 on the stock market. The DIA represents the same thing as the US30. It's the Dow Jones Industrial. I picked it up long on Friday, actually, towards the end of the day. Was looking for that Friday close, and so far got a nice start to the trade. I did hold this over into the weekend, so I just want to show you that the trade is on. And then here's the TradingView version, which I personally like the charting features of TradingView better than my broker, Webull, which, by the way, if you want to trade with Webull, it will be linked down below in the description. Awesome brokerage if you're in the US. Anyways, US30, I'm long here with the idea being, okay, we've actually seen a pretty impressive rally on the stock market, and I am not of the belief of trying to wait around for all the good news to come out before getting into the stock market, although things have started to show some healthy upward trend potential. And I'll show you guys that here in just a moment. So my entry was a pullback here on the intraday chart, liked this area here and was willing to go ahead and pick it up in this zone, the two green zones. This would have been my more conservative entry, but I was going pretty aggressive. I just wanted to jump into the trade. The trade was there for me. I looked left and I had structure. I had reason to be in the trade, and again, that conviction for a potentially strong Friday close looked very likely to me. So I'm in the trade. I'm still not in that much profit. I think I showed you guys $190 of profit, so it's not like this trade has been a smashing success, but this is the idea and why I took this trade inside of our VIP Discord. Also on top of that, if we take a look at the Edge Finder, you can pause the video if you'd like to look at top buys and top sells according to the scanner this week. This is our market scanning tool. I own a company. We build trading software for people who are interested in using data to assist their trading, help automate some of the process. We built this tool, which is called the Edge Finder. And in this scanning window, what we're seeing is just a total conglomerate of all the different metrics that we look at. We calculate a scoring system for interest rates, unemployment numbers, inflation, GDP growth, etc. And we basically see, how are these numbers likely to impact the underlying currency pair or the underlying asset, in this case, US30. And you can see that US30 has a buy rating overall. So let's go pull it up and we'll get a closer view at US30 and why I'm currently long on US30. So gets a +4 overall. Here's your overall window and how everything works going into this week. So retail sentiment, the crowd here is actually quite short. 68% short. COT data, we're gonna have to ignore this for now because we have some errors that we're trying to fix right now with it. So if you have the Edge Finder already, bear with us. We're doing some weekend maintenance on the COT numbers and how we pull that. Retail sentiment, we already mentioned that, so that gets us our +1 because we know the crowd is generally short. Take a look at seasonality. The month of November historically is a pretty strong month for the Dow, which gives me a bullish bias. Trend reading, we have a strong upward trend, pretty obvious. GDP growth and inflation favoring, being bullish on stocks. We could see that over here. If you ever want to break things down, you can always just pause my videos and look right here. So what you're looking at is, for example, GDP growth. We recently had strong GDP growth, which is of course bullish for stocks, right? Stronger economy, stronger, demand from consumers, better companies do, right? Selling their products. Inflation, we take a look at inflation. We had last week a huge surprise with inflation numbers coming out less than expected. A cooler than expected inflation number is going to be good for stocks because that means that, of course, inflation is really, really destructive to companies that have debt because interest rates go up, consumer demand goes down. So when you have the opposite, when you have inflation looking potentially like it's cooling, that's going to be a bullish signal. So I'm bullish on that. You do have unemployment, interest rates, and money supply that go against our thought process here, right? A rise in unemployment and interest rates on the rise. Those things put some headwind on the trade. But overall, again, enough bias here for me to pick up that long side. Not everything is always going to agree, so I have that trade on. there's a full breakdown of one of my trades. Again, I know that was a lot, so we'll move on to some of the other currency pairs and things that we're looking at. Let's take a look at the euro, and I should say this before I forget. We currently have a huge Black Friday sale going on, and if you use the code YTVIP down below in the description, you can get access to the Edge Finder, or if you also want to bundle it and join our VIP group, you can get both. So if you want access to the Edge Finder, again, use code YTVIP. There will be a link down below in the description if you want to join. The number of people that have already purchased the Edge Finder. Just a little context for those of you guys who care. The Edge Finder is a tool that we have invested a lot of money. I have a full staff of people behind designing, programming, and customer support. So if you guys want access, get access for 40% off using that code down below in the description, YTVIP. All right, so euro dollar, big move to the upside last week, and you have to ask yourself, how much further can this thing run before it runs out of gas? That's not usually something that I would bet against, and I'm not looking to short the euro because right now this thing is strong, right? On that number on Thursday, all the dollar crosses had a big reversal, and for good reason. With inflation potentially cooling, and I say potentially because it still could peak back up, if inflation's cooling, it's likely that the Federal Reserve will take a lighter tone with interest rate hikes, which is exactly what the doctor ordered for a potential dollar reversal. And so that's kind of what we saw last week. We saw the dollar sort of fall apart, find support here, the euro did, and rallied all the way up perfectly here to past resistance here at 1.035. So if you're a bear on the euro dollar, maybe you're looking at this thing. But for me, in my personal opinion, I think the euro dollar, if this inflation news continues to push markets, I think the euro dollar is actually not necessarily a sell up here, and if anything, possibly a short-term buy on a dip if it happens. Now, if it doesn't happen, if it just rallies through here, there's going to be no trade for me. I can't justify going long up in these areas at resistance. If I was to want to get long, it would probably be off of a pullback, right? So I can narrow in on the 4-hour chart and show you guys this. So you have this big run up, right? Clear, shoot to the upside, and then we've marked levels of resistance or past resistance that could actually offer support on a pullback. So there's 1.0050. We'll watch for that going into this week. If there is some dollar bearishness, or sorry, some dollar bullishness that pushes the euro down, it could be something to pay attention to. The other thing is, if you're super bullish on the euro dollar, watch for a breakout here. If you get the break above resistance and it closes above, if you have a reason to go long the euro, whatever your strategy is, perhaps you pay attention to that as well. Just a quick look at the Edge Finder when talking about the euro USD. What we can see here is that it is pretty neutral. So we don't have much of a bias here. And so whenever this thing points out neutral, for me, that just means there's no trade that I'm going to be placing on a chart like this. Because again, I need all these factors. I need lots of factors that point towards go bullish, go bearish, right? And then I'm looking to employ some technical analysis. Let's go to the score chart summary to help us find more ideas. We have some things that are on top. We already talked about one of my favorite buys off the list, which is the Dow. But let's flip it around and see what else. We got EURNZD, you got Aussie NZD, and you've got Pound New Zealand. These ones continuing to be strong sells on the list of assets. So let's go look quickly at something like EURNZD first. EURNZD. And what we can see here, I talked about this last week if you were watching my live streams. We talked about EURNZD and this idea here. I don't know if anybody caught this, but this was actually quite the entry. So what you had here is we had this little counter trend, right? Little higher lows coming into this chart. And then, a bull would expect this thing to continue to rally. We didn't get that. We actually failed underneath this level, retested the trend line there, and have continued downwards. So if you're watching this thing, if you like EURNZD, again, you've got a nice downward structure overall. You've got the lower highs coming into this market. You've broken out of that supportive little counter trend. And now the question is, are the sellers just going to pick it up and hold it back down to the lows? And I would say there's a pretty good solid chance, especially with the Edge Finder giving me confirmation. I think that this would be a reasonable one to attempt a sell on this week. And it's a trade I'm looking at myself. So if I look at resistance here and start marking up my chart, so again, we've got this counter trend that has fallen apart. We're in the context of a bigger downtrend. We had a big rejection candle right here, closed just at the tag of support here towards the end of the week. Okay, so we're sitting at demand. You could get a little bit more zoomed in here and say, okay, well, if this level breaks, I've got that higher time frame idea, right? And we'd be looking for break 1, 2, 3, right? So this is what we talk about so often on the channel. The old 1, 2, 3 combination. If you're a break and retest trader like myself, that's usually how I'm going to enter my trades. Is I'm looking for a major level to break and then trying to get it on the retest. It's like probably one of my favorite approaches to actually entering the market. Now again, entry, and this is just a little pointer to newer traders out there. When I was just getting started, that's all I ever paid attention to was, where do I get in? Where do I get in, right? Like I just want to have the perfect pattern that never fails me and I make a lot of money. And what I found out years later is, and literally years later, is through all the pack testing and all the work that I did, I realized that the entry is far less important than other key metrics about a trade. How much are you going to risk on that trade? How are you going to position size so that you don't blow your account? What are you going to do if the trade runs in your favor? Are you going to trail stops? Are you going to just hold it to a take profit level? Are you going to, move your stops to break even? Those questions are more important than the entry itself. And again, that took me a long time to learn. Anyways, pound New Zealand, another one that has a sell bias. So again, a nice little counter trend failure here towards the end of the week. So you had this upward trend, or at least this counter trend trying to rally the pound New Zealand, but it failed on Friday. And again, the one I'd be looking for here would be same concept: break underneath, retest, looking for continuations. And in this case, if you are familiar with my style of trading, you know I like to trail stops. But if you don't know that already about me, what I like to do is, let's say I take this trade, right? And let's say I'm just, I'm saying generically, oh, well, yes, you'd sell, but then what? What would you do with the stop loss? Well, I'd probably look left and I'd say, okay, pivot high here. I'll put a stop above there. Okay, so that's gonna be my stop. Where's your target though? Do you target the previous low? Well, that is a very, very common. That's what most traders, I think, would even do. If they're going to set a take profit, they'd say, well, I want to target here, right? Very common, and nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that like patronizing. I'm just saying like that would be what most traders would think, and I think that's okay. That's fine, right? You have a level of support. You would think, okay, price could drop down into that area. But for me, what I like to do, I like to trail stops. So I'm not betting that this thing is just going to go down here. I'm trying to see if we can catch the breakout of that and the overall trend run continuation. Because really, you take a look at this chart with me, guys, and you can see the money in the markets is not trading here to here, right? Yes, that's good money. The real money in the markets is if you catch a trade like this and you hold it all the way, right, until it shows signs of reversal. It's very rare and it's very frustrating to wait around for that trade, but for me, it's worth the wait. And that's how I trade. So what I'm looking for is, when this market sets up and I'm in a trade and I'm in a sell, what I'm looking to do is take that stop loss, as this thing, if it continues down, let's say it breaks the lows, right? And it goes like that. What I'm looking to do is I'm then taking my stop loss and I'm moving it all the way and trailing it behind market structure again. And I'll rinse and repeat that tactic until I get stopped out. And the longer it goes, the bigger the profit. That's my style of trading. It is not for everybody. And when I'm sitting here explaining, you might say, well, that sounds brilliant. Let me tell you what's not brilliant about that style. I'll be completely honest. Most of the time, I enter, put my stop loss here, and you get this. Or you're in, and you're like, wow, I'm not going to trail stops just yet. And then it does this. The thing is with trailing stops is they're very, very frustrating because it's rare that you're going to catch the smooth swing to the downside. It's very rare. So I accept that though. Again, trading is not easy. Nobody said it was. So, well, actually, I guess a lot of people say it is, but you get my point, right? This is not an easy way to make money. And so, you kind of have to accept your pain. It doesn't matter what trading strategy you use. It's going to be painful sometimes. So anyways, pound New Zealand is another one I like for potentially a break to the downside there. Let's go back to the buy side, see if there's anything here. So I mentioned I'm already in my Dow trade. Let's see, what else can we find? USDCAD. So USDCAD gets a buy, but I don't see the technical side of it yet. So the edge finder it's not meant to be like oh, you see buy, I'm going to buy right here. That's not what it's saying, right? The Edge Finder is just a scanner. It scans all these different metrics and gives you a bias independently on each one. So for example, inflation numbers, with that inflation cooling, that put a bearish reading on the dollar CAD, right? So that's the point, is like, you kind of just get this idea, this bias, and then you go and you trade what you'd like to do on it, right? So if you're a technical trader and you're saying, well, this thing looks bearish, then I wouldn't be buying it. I'd only be buying it if it starts to print bullish, meaning maybe a higher low and a higher high, and we start seeing trending nature come back into this. Then perhaps you have a nice confluence factor. But the Edge Finder by itself doesn't just do the entire process of trading for you. It basically assists you in finding all these different metrics, giving you bias on each one, and then you can make your decision. And it doesn't mean throw out all your technical strategies. It just means add this to your mix. And again, this is why so many traders love it. We have so many people who are using the Edge Finder. It's been a really, really good year of launching this tool into the market. And again, if you want access, get access for a super discounted rate with the Black Friday sale that's going on right now. I mentioned it earlier, but don't miss it. Again, we'd only do this once a year, this Black Friday sale. So get that 40% off using code YTVIP. Get yourself a copy. It's a one-time purchase, so you don't have to buy this thing every month. You don't have to renew or anything like that. It's a one-time purchase. You get access to the tool. It comes with our market heat map. You can see what's moving each day. You can see the economic news, smart money tracker, track what the big players are doing from the COT data. You can track the Fed with the Fed projection sheet that we've built. You have so many different tools. And if you're a trader who wants to use fundamentals, but they're pretty daunting and they can be a lot, that's why we built this tool. It is literally meant for traders who are interested in fundamentals, who want more fundamentals incorporated in their trading, but don't want to read articles for 3 hours a day in order to get a fundamental bias. That's what we build the Edge Finder. It is not necessarily, it's not like TradingView where you chart all your stuff. This is specifically made for retail sentiment, commitment of traders data, and basically fundamental analysis in an automated fashion. For example, you can even go into the fundamental analysis section and pull up like inflation. So we've been talking about inflation a lot here, and I'm sure you've heard it all over the markets. Here is your inflation race chart, essentially, right? You've got all the different currencies racing against each other with the inflation number. They all want to get it down. Which ones are performing the best? Which ones are performing the worst, right? And you've got that also for GDP growth. Which countries are growing the fastest, right? Which ones have the strongest economic output? We could take a look at interest rates. This is a huge one. A lot of people like paying attention to the interest rates, right? Because higher interest rates, more attractive for the currencies. You wonder why the US is so strong, or the US dollar. Well, their interest rate is higher than the other places, and it's attracting a lot of foreign investment. This is what I mean when I say fundamental analysis made simple for the average trader. And again, it's been a massive investment, both of time and money for my company. And if you want access to it, I just want you to get access while it's cheap. If you've ever thought about it, get it now. It's that YTVIP code down below in the description. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great trading week. Trade safe, and we will see you back next time. See you later.